Currently, the Memphis Grizzlies are 9-8. They're ninth in the Western Conference, and I think it's safe to say they have one of the better young cores in the NBA. They're the third youngest team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
At 21 years old, you have John Moran and Jaren Jackson Jr. At 22 years old, you have Desmond Bane, DeAnthony Melton, and Xavier Tillman. At 24, you have Brandon Clark, Tyus Jones. At 25, Dillon Brooks and Grayson Allen. So all of their players that play a lot of minutes for them are under 25.
Yeah, definitely.
And then at 27, you have Kyle Anderson, 28, Jonas Valanciunas, and their oldest player is Gorky Jing at 31. In your opinion, do you think that the Memphis Grizzlies have the best young core in the NBA?
I would say yes, because I really don't see another team right now who has players who haven't even hit their ceiling yet. Like you just said, their oldest player is 31. If you really thinking about that, that's actually like crazy, because most, all these players are like second, third year guys. Most of them really haven't been in the year for like 4+ years, so they haven't even really hit their full potential yet. And they're already an exciting team to watch. John Morant already came into the league last year, and I feel like kind of shocked the league a little bit. I don't think anyone really expected him to be as good as he was. And Josh Jackson, even though he was like starting last year, but I think he was coming off the bench a little. I followed him in college. I always liked him. Really good shooter. I think he's like fits into what they try to do with Ja. He's like a drive first type of point guard. So him being in the corner, he's a lot of threes for them. I think he's a good spot up shooter. All those other players, Desmond Bane. Yeah, I think he fits into their offense too. I just think that as a team, they all like to play with each other and they mesh. And I do think that they're going to stay together and try to really build something.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about the Memphis Grizzlies so far is that they're winning games and no player so far on their team has played over 30 minutes per game. Like, everybody's playing under 30 minutes. Everybody's doing their thing. Ja's averaging 19 and 7. Dillon Brooks is having an off year in terms of field goal percentage, but he's averaging 15.6. Jonas, 14 and 10. Brandon Clark, 13. And this is without Jaren Jackson Jr. He has not played this year. I read up an article that his return is coming soon, and they have a timetable for it, but he's just not announcing it. And you talked about Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is a terrific rookie.
I like him.
When we in the draft, when we talked about who was going to be the best shooter in the draft, it was between Aaron Nesmith, Isaiah Joe, and Desmond Bane. I think Aaron Nesmith has gotten dealt a bad hand because Boston was so stacked in terms of their guard and the wing position that
wasn't able to really.
Yeah, he doesn't have an opportunity to really get a rhythm.
Yeah.
In terms of Desmond Bane, he's been slotted in Memphis and has an opportunity, and he's shooting 50.
Get opportunities.
Yeah, and he's shooting 50% from three right now. He's doing his thing, and Xavier Tillman is kind of like the modern, or not the modern, but he is kind of playing that Draymond Green-like role for the Grizzlies. And ever since Draymond got drafted and did what he did with the Warriors, a lot of teams are taking risks on these shorter center/power forwards, and Xavier Tillman has gotten a shot with the Grizzlies, and he's been really good. He's a really great defender. I think overall the Grizzlies have a great core. They like playing together, and they're really good defensively. And I think that makes for a recipe for success.
I love when people – the Grizzlies – I remember we used to talk about the Grizzlies, the grit and grind era, Mike Conley, Marc Gasol, and it was a slow to pace. We're going to lock down defensively, and we're going to score slow. I think this team is gearing toward that process in a sense, building the right way, getting these guys out of the draft. I don't think they're going to go out and get any big names in free agency. I think they've been playing really well. I think these young guys are grooming together, and they're playing well together. I mean, you said it. This team – and Dillon Brooks is probably – I didn't expect him to be this good coming out. I thought he was just going to be like a Denzel Valentine, and he's exceeded my expectations. John Morant is geared. He has that superstar it factor in him. I think we all can see it. Yeah. He has that dog in him. When they get Jaren Jackson back, he's a really good player, and he's a good defensive player too. They're going to miss him. But with this team, I think Desmond Bane, DeAnthony Melton, Xavier Tillman, Dillon Brooks, John Morant, I think this is the young core they're going to ride with. And with this upcoming draft, they got another time where they can pick out guys and bring it into their core. But I think they do have the best young core in the league. I used to think it was Phoenix. Phoenix kind of has a couple good guys, Michael Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Devin Booker. I used to think it was Atlanta, but Cam has been inconsistent. DeAndre Hunter has been really good. Trey's kind of teetering. I think with this team, you got the number one guy, John Morant. You know what you're going to get out of him. I think we all can agree you can build a franchise around John Morant. You got the young guys, Dylan Brooks. He's a shooter. He's going to play defense. Brandon Clark, he's like a Draymond Green in a sense. Xavier Tillman the same way. I think with this core group of guys, I definitely think they're the best core in the group.
Right now, they're second in assists per game, seventh in points allowed, and fourth in defensive rating.
And first in steals per game.
And this is with John Morant missing. He only played 9 games.
Yeah. He had that bad ankle injury.
Their defense has been phenomenal. And I think with this, a team as good as this that's young too, I wouldn't rule it out that the Memphis Grizzlies overpay for somebody in free agency that is that's not a superstar, but is a really good player.
Like a Gordon Hayward type?
Yeah, kind of like what Charlotte did with Hayward. And, that wouldn't be so bad because with a core like this already, you can build around that.
Yep.
They also average 9th in blocks per game and 11th in rebounds per game. Whew, that's not bad.
With no Jaren Jackson. This is without him.
And if you look at their their injury list right now, they're missing everybody. There's no Valanciunas. Not loading right now, but I think they got over or more than like 2 starters who are injured right now, who aren't playing tomorrow. Their injury list is pretty long, so if they can keep this up without their key players, the ceiling is kind of like
question.
What's up?
I remember people used to talk like that draft class: Zion, John Morant, RJ Barrett. We seen all 3 of them playing pretty well for their year too. Zion's dominating. Mm-hmm. RJ Barrett, he's getting back in the rhythm. He's doing his thing. John Morant, he's doing his thing. But John Morant is the only one who seems to be leading his team to the playoffs. Is that going to be a knock on Zion and RJ in a sense? Because I don't think we can all agree. I don't think Memphis is that much better than the Pelicans. I think the Knicks,
they might be.
I think all 3 of them are kind of in the same tier. But I just think the elevation of John Morant and elevating their game is kind of huge. Do you see that from Zion or RJ anytime soon?
I mean, the thing about that,
I think Zion especially.
I think Zion has not done it because I don't think that's Zion's game. I really don't. I think Zion is more of a player that's going to feed off another lead guard.
Yeah.
And I think that Stan Van Gundy has been a bad coach thus far, especially coaching the Pelicans. His lineups out there,
spacing is horrible.
They did a bad job constructing that roster. When we talk about the Knicks, I don't think RJ is the best player on the Knicks. I think that's Julius Randle right now. RJ has been good, but I mean, we're talking about RJ and Zion. I think a guy who has been doing good is Darius Garland for the Cavs. I mean, they're in the playoff hunt right now, and he's really good efficiency-wise, averaging 17 and 8. Like I think that John Morant is really good. I think he could be a top point guard in the league, but I don't know if I see like superstar. I don't know if I see like top,
Damian Lillard type of.
I think
standard.
I see that, but I don't think I see Steph. I don't think I see Kyrie. I think Ja's more of a playmaker, facilitator, and I think this team was just perfectly built. Taylor Jenkins has done a good job, but these are a bunch of guys who have bought in. Like you look at Dylan Brooks, look at Desmond Bane, Xavier Tillman, Jonas Valanciunas, who was a very underrated pickup when they shipped out Marc Gasol to the Raptors. He was a very underrated pickup. You look at DeAnthony Melton. These are a bunch of guys that are buying into playing defense, like defensive first guys.
Yeah.
And John Morant, I'm not sure that if he fits that defensive first style, I don't know if he'll have gaudy numbers with this team and the way this team is building towards. I think he's more of like a Mike Conley mold, if anything, with a little bit of better stats.
I think just leadership wise, coming in the Grizzlies, following behind a rookie, that kind of looks at it like, he's a rookie. How would he be able to lead us? So I think that the showing early in his career having those leadership qualities is definitely a step forward in being a franchise player. What did you mean though about he's on the Dame tier and not the Kyrie tier? Aren't they on the same tier?
I was gonna say that you wouldn't consider Dame a superstar.
No, but you said Kyrie as if aren't they the same type of tier? I'm confused. You put him on Steph's tier. I was boggled by that. What you mean?
I didn't put.
You said he's on the Dame tier, not the Steph, and then you said Kyrie after.
I was like, would you consider him like on Dame level? And you were like, nah, I would consider him on like Kyrie's Steph. Like he's not gonna be a Kyrie Steph.
Yeah, he'll be on the Dame level. So I was like, what you mean by that? Like,
oh, I might have misspoke. I wouldn't put him on. I wouldn't put him on either of those levels. I think he'll be a top 10 point guard in the league.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know if he'll be like a top 5, especially with the guards that are
like
coming.
Like an all-star.
Maybe, yeah. In the West is gonna be really hard. I'll put him like in the Jamal Murray tier.
No, he'll be better than Jamal Murray. Easily.
I mean,
I don't know about that.
I mean, after what he did in the playoffs last year, I don't know. You could say
past 2 years.
What is he? I'm not. Listen,
what do you mean, bro?
Listen. I'm gonna say this. Ja Morant, as a rookie, led his team to the playoffs. He had help.
No,
I'm not
they
saying
didn't go to the playoffs.
You know what I'm
what
saying?
You mean?
He because
the Grizzlies didn't go to the playoffs.
It's because they got joked by that stupid bubble rule, and they were in at the time. Okay, they were close. Boom. This year, he's back. They're doing their thing.
I just play in.
Yes, the plan
That they're gonna have this year as well.
We'll see. Like I
It's
said,
a playing tournament.
They're gonna have a plan this year.
No, I think they can get an 8th seed. You never know.
The 8th seed is a plan.
Is it really?
Yeah, they're doing a plan with the 8th seed and the 9th and 10th.
That's terrible.
I thought it was.
I thought 10-9 play and then they play 8.
Yeah,
that's still a plan.
But I feel like if you're in the play, you're in the playoffs.
It's kind of like a wild card game.
How are you in the? If you're in the plan, how are you in the playoffs?
Because you're fighting for a playoff.
If you're in the wild card, if you're in the wild card,
so then wait, so the 10th seed is the same as the 11th because the 11th can't play to play in the playoffs.
No, the team that makes the playoffs is the team that makes the playoffs. So the team that made the play-in is not the playoffs.
That's so
it's
stupid.
the team that made the play-in.
So if you made the wild card game, are you in the playoffs?
Wait, no,
that
that's
makes
confusing.
No sense.
Wait, so it's the not playoff teams, then it's the play-in, and then it's the playoffs. That's what it is, right?
Yes, the play-in is the 9th and 10th seed.
So what is the play-in for, like loser? Like what is that for?
No,
to
the play-in is
into the playoffs.
The 9th and 10th seed. Mm-hmm. What they did in the bubble, bro. 9th and 10th seed, and whoever wins faces the 8th seed.
They thought that was a good idea. Okay, all right, interesting.
It's confusing if you don't like. You got to read it.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah.
No, it's not the wild card. It's more like your team, week 17, win or go home.
So you mean to tell me I can play a full season as an 8th seed and I still have to fight to get in?
I think if it's between like a certain win margin, but yeah, I mean if you're that good all year, then you should beat those 9 or 10 seeds. You got to earn it.
You should have earned it when the first 8 seed.
But how many times has there been a team who hasn't made the playoffs that should have?
Phoenix did. They were like 45 and 37.
They were 9th seed that year. I'm just saying. Look, I think that.
No, Ja's gonna be better.
I really love Ja's game, but I just think, especially with the point guards that are coming into the league, they're taller. You know, Ja's gonna be.
What is he like 6'5", 6'4"?
Ja's 6'3", but he play like he's 6'5", 6'4". Grown man.
So I mean, I don't know. I just think that I'm kind of worried about Ja and his health.
The way he plays
very erratic.
I guess kind of like
broke his leg.
Kind of like Derrick Rose, like he was playing crazy, like kind of. And that's why his.
I think Ja plays way more crazy.
Yeah, like he be putting his body on the line. Mm-hmm. He be jumping in the air. He be going at everybody.
So that's why. But I hope that the Grizzlies do good in the future. I mean, I think they're probably 2 pieces away. Or they're young players developing into great players.
I feel like if, like what you said before, if they got that one good player that they like brought in, like a Gordon Hayward type of player, like somebody who's been in the league and has like been in situations where they've won and like kind of has like a little playoff experience to where they can guide these younger players to.
I think we could definitely see the trend going to where they're going to be very competitive for a 9-10 stretch, just like the same with the grit and grind era.
Especially because they're in the West. So all these young players are playing tough competition early in their career. I feel like for later in their career, that's going to give them the experience to beat those teams later on.
I think all the young point guards are going to go to the East because all the dominant, aside from Kyrie, like point guards are in the West. You know, Steph, Dame.
Yeah,
so I think
true.
like
we need some balance, yo.
Yeah, all the bad teams are going to get the point guards, but they're going to be in the East. Like the Knicks might get an East point guard since they got Dallas picking stuff. And Luka's technically a point guard, you know. So.
Yeah.